Hey guys, welcome back to the Elephant in the Room podcast. I'm Dakota.
I'm Steven.
First of all, we want to wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving, first and foremost. And, don't listen to these governors. They can't control you. All right?
Yeah, Cuomo just got smacked down for that. Seriously, the cops aren't answering the calls, so just do what you want.
Yeah, seriously. It's Thanksgiving. These governors are out here meeting with their families, meeting with their friends, with whomever else they want to. Gavin Newsom, we're also looking at you. You hypocrite. So, go out here, enjoy the holidays, and don't listen to these morons. Seriously.
They're already trying to set it up for Christmas. Like, if you can't get together for Thanksgiving, can you get together for Christmas? And they're saying no, like Jake Tapper is some kind of like authority on who's allowed to get together for Christmas. But just do what you want, because again, the police in New York are saying that they're not going to enforce it. The police in Oregon are also saying they're not going to enforce it. So they're not going to listen to these governors who have not had their back anyway.
Yeah, and speaking of things in Oregon, we'll go ahead and get started there. Oregon just recently decriminalized the use of hard drugs, like heroin, coke, fentanyl, all these other things, oxys. And I saw this the other day and I went, why? What good is it going to do? Because all you're going to have now is these cracked out, drugged out zombies walking around, and you're just, they're just throwing up their hands like, well, we don't care, you do what you want. They're like, they put out a statement, they're like, oh, we're just trying to help people. You're enabling them. Alright? I'll put it to you this way. Addiction, personally, I believe addiction is a choice. Nobody's holding a gun to your head, forcing you to snort the line of cocaine. Nobody's holding a gun to your head, forcing you to shoot up. You made that choice. You're making that choice to continue doing that. So, I personally don't feel sorry for you.
Yeah, there's no, recourse for taking crystal meth. There's no reason that a reasonable individual in the country, your average American, needs to be, on heroin or on opiates or on, again, crystal meth. I mean, any of these crazy drugs. Okay, I will grant you marijuana, medical marijuana, just in general, people having marijuana, growing it in their house. Okay, that's fine, because it's got health benefits, it's proven, not dangerous, all that good stuff. But nobody needs to be smoking, that's how ignorant I guess I am of drugs. I don't know how you really do crystal meth, but nobody needs to be doing crystal. Yeah, I don't really know, but I've never done it. But people don't need to be doing crystal meth, and these high grade drugs. I mean, just imagine if you're driving on the highway and somebody is driving a car that's on crystal meth, and they're hallucinating all over the street, and they just start mowing into people. That's potentially, over 50 lives that could be lost just from you knocking into, a car pile up on a highway because you're on crystal meth when you're driving. I mean, that legalizing hard drugs is not a good thing.
No, it's not. It shouldn't be allowed. So I know they had in Philadelphia, they had riots take place a while back. We've been busy recently, so we're catching up with the latest news. There were riots that erupted in Philadelphia. Well, the Philadelphia mayor and/or DA informed the Philadelphia Police Department that they were not allowed to use crowd control weapons, i.e. batons, shields, tear gas, smoke grenades. They said, you have to handle it, but we're not going to allow you to use the equipment to handle these situations. Meanwhile, these little shitheads are out here running around, throwing bricks, throwing rocks, throwing firework mortar shells, and just causing mayhem and destruction and damage everywhere you turn. And once again, the Philadelphia mayor and DA have turned their backs on their police department. So, a couple weeks back, again, catching up on everything, there was a police officer that was attacked in his squad car in Ontario, Canada. Now, there were activists that went online and said the video was taken out of context. Now, I'm going to ask you this as anybody who would have common sense would be wondering, how do you walk up to a squad car, attack a police officer, have the video posted online of you attacking that police officer, and then having people come behind you and going, it was taken out of context. No, him beating the cop was not what that was meaning.
That doesn't even make any sense, and it's literally the Antifa types trying to make, the argument that rational people make when a cop is dealing with a doped up criminal. The criminal walked up to the policeman and assaulted him, and it's just out of context. They had a disagreement. No, that's not what that is. When a cop is dealing with somebody who gets belligerent because they're on drugs, and they start attacking them, and the cop has to use lethal force on them, that would be something that would maybe be taken out of context. But it's not when a criminal just runs up to a squad car and assaults police officers. That is not a out of context move there.
Well, it's just like that gangbanger who walked up to that LAPD squad car and decided to shoot both those cops.
Yeah.
As soon as I find out an update, I will let you guys know about that. I haven't heard anything recently. Last I heard, they were both in the hospital still, and they did catch that little piece of shit. Speaking of LAPD, my next spiel here. LAPD is facing the defund the police movement, and they are moving forward with it, unfortunately. Now, I have a list of things here that because the LAPD is having their budget cut, these are the things that they're going to be removing. The Sexual Assault Special Section, the Homeless Outreach and Engagement Program, the Animal Cruelty Task Force, the Burglary Special Section, and the Cargo Auto Theft Detail. Now, what that tells me is that if you get your car stolen, you get sexually assaulted or raped, you find out that your neighbor's abusing these animals. If you're a homeless person who is looking for help, you're not going to receive any of those things now. Because these little offended, multicolored hair animals out here think it's a good idea to defund the police and have their budget taken from them. And, once you defund the police, those are things that you're going to start losing. So if you have a burglary case, they're not going to answer it. You get sexually assaulted, they're not going to answer that call. They're not going to be able to help you. Get your car stolen, they're not going to be able to help you. You find out that your neighbor's running a dog fighting ring, they're not going to be able to help you. You are losing all these things because you want to scream, "We're offended!"
Personally, while the victims of those crimes will not probably receive any closure, I think that this is a good thing for the city of LA to learn a lesson in what happens when you do defund the police. It's good for them to learn, that crime will run rampant in your city and in your state when you remove the safeguards that stop all of these from going on. Because you have such a problem with law enforcement, you will now be dealing with, I would assume, a rise in all of those crimes. A rise in rapes, a rise in animal abuse, which probably won't even be reported. Homeless people not receiving help, which, by the way, California as a state, you need help with that.
You have one of the most highest homeless rates in the entire country.
And it's sick. It's disgusting that your governor will sit here and watch these tent cities of homeless people, shooting up, doing hard drugs out there on the street, and will allow rapes, animal abuse, homeless people to go without help, all of these things, carjackings, muggings, I don't know what else. All of these to go on while lecturing you that you have to wear a mask and you can't have your family over for Thanksgiving. But all of these rules don't apply to him. He's got a personal detail of guards. He's got, nothing's going to happen to his family. But you have to listen to him because he is the de facto, ruler of California, and so but you voters of California clearly are not able to understand what it means when you vote for these programs, so you need to see what it looks like for you. So I'm happy that this is happening for California.
I don't get it. I really don't. There's already a horrible amount of crime in LA and in California in general. And you're now going to cut the budget of the police departments even further. And I don't want to hear anybody online that lives in California, knows anybody who lives in California, or goes to California. I don't want to hear them complain, because they are allowing Gavin Newsom to continue to run amok and let California continue to go to hell. And it's ridiculous. The same goes for Lori Lightfoot in Chicago. She sat there and went to some Biden rally, Black Lives Matter rally or something, and then wanted to get on the news and, quote, justify it, while she's sitting here going, I quote, in a press conference, "You must cancel the original Thanksgiving plans that you have." And I'm sure she's sitting in her governor's mansion right now, or wherever she may be, hiding in the sewer, who knows, having a Thanksgiving with all of her family members, with all of her associates, anybody like that. And it's ridiculous.
Standing up there in a suit, peddling her Democrat talking points, looking like a lint-covered turd. Okay? That's what Lori Lightfoot looks like, a lint-covered turd. And again, the people of Chicago, the people of Michigan, all of you, disregard all of their plans. What are they going to do? Bring you up on charges because you had a Thanksgiving dinner? The courts would drop that if they weren't corrupt. But, there's a lot of that going on, too.
Yeah.
Just, these governors, these mayors are out of control. Absolutely out of control, but you voted for it. You voted for it, or they rigged themselves in, just like they're trying to do with Biden right now. But this is what happens when you have dictatorial people in office that you put in.
Yep. So, another thing that apparently 2020 is going to throw at us. Happened to come across a news article, and I had to go back, reload the page, and read it again because I just couldn't believe it. These leftists decided that Woody from Toy Story is racist. And no, I'm not kidding you. This is a legit article that you can go and find. Toy Story is a kid's movie. What is so racist about Woody, a pull-string cowboy doll? I'm at a loss of words. Seriously. It's...
The Democrat Party, it doesn't surprise me because, they're coming after everything in American society right now because they just have to unveil the evil plans. They have to go ahead with Order 66. And the Democrat Party, for as long as they've existed, has always stood in the way of freedom, has always stood in the way of progress, even though, funnily enough, they claim to champion it. And so now they're going after children's movies now. You can't even watch like he said, a puppet with a string in it dressed like a cowboy. Now that's racist. I don't even know who is watching these movies and deciding this.
I wish I had that much time on my hands. I really do.
But that's, again, you bear out the election numbers. They have no jobs. You have all the time in the world to sit here and talk about Paw Patrol. You can't show the police dog, which, by the way, I'm surprised that they had that on the
Macy's Day
Parade. That they had
it,
that he was on there because they called him racist. Oh, he's a police dog. We don't need kids knowing that police are good. Oh, so who are these people that are making these decisions, I wonder?
And just get ready, because it gets better, Steven.
Oh,
I saw this one this morning. Are you ready for this?
Sure.
Outside, I believe it was George Mason University, there is a rock with a plaque on it and I think it talks about how the school was founded, all this, established whatever date. They are demanding, these college students are demanding that they remove this rock because it's racist. It's a goddamn rock! What is racist about a rock?
I'm pretty sure at this point they just do it to see what they can get away with. Like, at this point, you just have to see what it is that you can make people do. And if you... There's enough cowards in the country that if you just say, oh, this is racist, I feel offended, they'll change it. But they are, I mean, the Democrat Party is following a communistic playbook in how to take down the country. And you're seeing it unravel before your eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, you have to be blind, and I go online, and all these people are talking about how, oh, the country's going to be so much better under Biden and this and that. The election is not over, all right? And we'll talk about that a little bit more in depth a little later on. But first, I want to get into what's going on in Florida. The newest Florida headline, and it's not something funny, it's really pathetic and it's sad. The Florida Holocaust Museum, or a Holocaust museum in Florida, decided to open an exhibit. Not just some exhibit with a new thing from one of the camps or something like that, or in memory of, the people who passed away. They opened an exhibit in the Holocaust Museum for George Floyd. George Floyd was not a Jew. George Floyd was not in the concentration camps. George Floyd was not beaten and gassed or hung in the concentration camps, 1940s. Why is he there? Why is George Floyd a criminal, a career criminal, who died of a drug overdose, put into a Holocaust museum where we honor the lives of 6 million people who were murdered by the Nazis in Germany?
What was the reasoning behind that? Do you know?
The artist, and I'm going off of what I remember from the article here, so I do apologize. It might not be verbatim. The artist said that he felt that it was important to get the message out about brutality. That was his one main reason. So what you're meaning to tell me is you're comparing the police officers of today to Nazis who ran the concentration camps and gassed people, hung, raped, beat, gassed, worked to death in the concentration camps under Hitler, is what you're comparing our law enforcement officers to, and you are comparing a career criminal to 6 million people who were murdered in cold blood.
It doesn't surprise me. So CNN runs these hit pieces about how Donald Trump is Hitler, and so people think they can be very bold and say that, law enforcement is Hitler and they're all Nazis and all this. You don't know what Nazis are.
Yeah.
Nazis are when AOC runs around and says we need a truth and reconciliation squad. We need a comprehensive list of all Trump supporters in the country.
We need to send them to re-education camps.
They need to be retaught. They need re-education. They need to be, that's what Nazis are. Nazis don't follow, ordinances. Nazis do what they please. They attack you based on their own, belief systems. They try you without any kind of court system, and they kill you. They put you in camps. They do horrific things. That is what the news media, the Democrat Party, and all of these high-profile left-wing liberals are all on the side of. So when you tell conservatives and Trump supporters and whoever on the right-hand side of the political aisle that we're now Nazis and all this, your side is the one doing it. Your side is the one preparing it. Your side is, your candidate is owned by the Chinese.
And the Middle East.
And the Middle East. If you think Joe Biden is in any way a independent candidate, you're a fool and you've not been paying attention for the last 8 years of the country. They're now calling him Beijing Biden. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's true. It's absolutely true. He is the biggest pay-for-play, communistic... Well, he's not a communist. I'll say that. Joe Biden's not a communist. He is a plaything of communists. He is the biggest pay-for-play, shadow government puppet, globalist puppet that you could possibly have. And he's your candidate.
Exactly. And, just remember that Biden, his son, got paid $3 million from a Russian governor, okay? And he was attached to sending jobs. Joe Biden was sending jobs along with his pal Obama from, 2008 to 2016 over to, China, the Middle East, sending millions of dollars so they could build, the Middle East countries could build their nuclear arms. And we're just, they negotiated with terrorists. Don't ever forget Benghazi. They negotiated with terrorists and our people were killed. Our people, our fellow Americans, our fellow patriots, and our soldiers who worked so hard to defend this country were left to die in the Middle East because they were too busy lining their pockets with money and lining those guys' pockets with money that they didn't want to send a rescue team in. They didn't want to do that because they knew what was going to happen. They wouldn't get their money. They wouldn't be able to line their pockets with that Middle Eastern money. And they let those people die, and they negotiated with terrorists.
Tucker Carlson, how dare you? You go on TV, you call out Sidney Powell, and she just completely blows you out of the water and blows your story up, saying you're a complete liar, that you never asked her to come on the show. But Fox News, they're done. Fox News is now done. I'm gonna say that now. You're trying to fence ride. You're trying to be on both sides. You're trying to, do this thing where you have Democrats on and do the. I don't know what's going on with Fox News, but your credibility's done with the people that you built. So
Yeah.
just let that be what it is.
And that's a shame because I used to watch all of what Tucker Carlson had to say. He was up until just recently, he was doing great. He was doing fine. He was running his own way on the Fox News network, and they couldn't stop him. And now that that's come about, it's like, seriously, dude, now you're just as bad as the rest of them. Talking about voter fraud, Rogan O'Handley made a post the other day. He said, today at the Pennsylvania election hearings, we learned that 1.8 million absentee ballots were mailed out for the 2020 election. Do you know how many were counted? 2.5 million. I'm no genius, but I'm pretty sure 700,000 phantom votes is evidence of widespread fraud. And that's a quote right here from his page.
Oh, and by the way, because I remember very clearly the election numbers when I went to sleep that night, Pennsylvania had about 64% in, and Donald Trump was up by 700,000 votes.
Oh, yeah.
So, if you're going to tell me that all of a sudden these phantom votes came in, and it was just enough to give Joe Biden the win, and not one of them was for Donald Trump, you're not going to get that past anybody.
Oh, no.
Nobody, unless they're partisan or stupid. And the same thing in Georgia. I don't even believe Arizona. And Nevada looks to me to be absolutely stolen too. So if you call, and Michigan, and Wisconsin, and all of these ones that are contested, it's funny, all the ones that are contested are the ones that we don't know what happened. They keep saying, oh, the Dominion voting, software is what did it. No, I think they were programmed correctly to do exactly what they were supposed to do, which was cheat. And that's why the Dominion, the head of Dominion Voting Systems, they called them in. Pennsylvania's government called them in to do a hearing, and then the last second, they ditched and started lawyering up, said we're not going to do the meeting. So that right there is an admission of guilt, and this is nothing about this is legitimate at all.
See, if you ain't got nothing to hide, why would you want to call your lawyers in? If you're just being straight up and you're going to be 100% honest, if I was called in for an armed robbery that I know I did not commit through and through, why would I call a lawyer? I didn't do it. But if you're going to sit here and you're going to go, well, we're going to make this meeting happen, and then all of a sudden you're going to drop it and throw up your lawyers, that's... I've seen too many cop shows to know that some shit is going on. Mm-hmm. So, everybody's talking about, oh, just let it go. Biden won. No, he hasn't won yet. It's far from over, and these next couple weeks are about to be really, really interesting. Another thing that's sending liberals through the moon right now, Kyle Rittenhouse was released from jail on $2 million bail. The founder of MyPillow, and there was one other big name that I cannot remember off the top of my head right now, posted his bail for him. And everybody's like, oh, this is ridiculous. He shouldn't have been let go. When you're attacked violently, you're chased, you're beaten with a skateboard, you have a firearm pulled on you, and you shoot those people because you're defending yourself, and then you're thrown in jail, that is wrong. That is just beyond me. So, I'm glad he's out walking the streets. I'm glad that, it's very unfortunate that it came to that he had to be, put out on bail at such a high amount. He should have never been arrested anyways. It should have never happened. But he's out, he's walking around, he's free as can be at the moment. So that's what their latest complaint is, amongst everything else.
We have, in other news, as far as, the rule of law is concerned, and some people still in the country being willing and able to uphold it, the Supreme Court is, I believe, being assigned, or has already been assigned, to these states in which there are discrepancies. Clarence Thomas, Amy Coney Barrett, Judge Alito, I believe, has been assigned to Pennsylvania. I believe Clarence Thomas is in Georgia. I could be wrong. But all of these states that have had issues, they're being sent to investigate it. And they will uphold the rule of law. You can be sure on that one. Clarence Thomas does not play if he sees any kind of... And Georgia, by the way, is having all of these issues with bribing going on, and the governor involved in it, supposedly. And so you will see very soon the rule of law being upheld. And I mean, already the domino is starting to fall in Pennsylvania. They're already getting the election results questioned there, and it will start to begin in other states too. Because nobody with an honest eye can look at this and think that it's legitimate, and especially if it becomes a Supreme Court matter, the decision will already be made, because they will see the voter fraud that is occurring. So as far as the election, the media can run around and pretend like Joe Biden is the president. He's not. He's running around picking cabinet members.
He's not even president-elect anymore. He has no power.
None. He was never the president-elect. They run around saying, oh, President-elect Biden. No, he's not. He's not. Nobody crowned him except the media. And no legal measure has been taken to make him anything other than a candidate for the presidency. And Sidney Powell, a federal prosecutor, who has promised to lay out all of her evidence, is doing that today.
Oh, really?
She is filing her lawsuit in Georgia today. she promises a lot of evidence, chief among some of them, to be that AOC and Bernie Sanders have been involved in election tampering. And so this thing is getting ready to get blown wide open. Stay tuned for that.
Oh yeah, we are going to stay on top of that like a pack of hungry wolves. Now we'll put some input in on what Steven was just saying. Back when Clarence Thomas was up for his induction into the Supreme Court, Joe Biden tried to ruin Clarence Thomas's career. They tried to ruin Brett Kavanaugh's career. They tried to ruin Amy Coney Barrett's career. And I can guarantee you, it's now their turn. And it's not just going to be off of what they're guessing. Those three, Clarence Thomas, Amy Coney Barrett, and Brett Kavanaugh, they're going to see that evidence, and they're going to blow this thing to the moon and back. And I can't wait to watch it happen. I cannot wait for it to be blown open and watch all these leftists' heads explode when this case is blown wide open. I'm looking forward to it. I really am. Alright guys, so again, thank you so much for bearing with us. We've had a lot of stuff come up recently. We've been catching up between our work schedules and just not being around. We have had to push back. So we will still continue to pump out videos for you guys. That is not stopping. That is not changing. The frequency of which they come out may change. We try to do it every week. So now we're trying to get it either every week or every other week so we can keep bringing you guys new and up-to-date and fresh content every time that we post a new video on our channel. Again, thank you guys so much for your support. And like we always say, stay tuned for the next episode and keep America great.
Keep America great.